20 years as a cop, Abel Marsh finally has a murder. But the only suspect is a dog, and he's not talking.
Don't worry. They only kill their masters.
The question, is the killer a man or man's best friend?
Saturday evening at 10:30 on Channel 4, James Garner and Catherine Ross star in the dramatic motion picture, They Only Kill Their Masters. Every evening, Channel 4 plays favorites.
Did you know that there are at least 23 million American adults who can't read a want ad?
Or a book, or a job application. That's why we have RIF.
RIF is Reading is Fundamental. It's a national nonprofit program that makes kids really want to read, with thousands of local community projects that help kids help themselves to books.
Books we can pick for ourselves and keep for our own.
Books that help young people think and learn and grow. Because when you get a kid to open a book, you get him to open his mind and his future. You give him a chance to get somewhere in this world.
But RIF works only if grown-ups make it work. That's why RIF needs you.
Give a kid a book and you'll give a kid a break. Join the RIF program in your community.
For more information, get in touch with your local RIF program. Or write RIF, Box 23444, Washington, D.C.
Hey, you're pretty smart. How'd you get so smart?
Reading.
Joggers will want to be watching our next Midday program, and I understand that's a growing group of people. Therapist Bonnie Pruden will be with us to talk about how to deal with that occasional problem with jogger's leg. If you've been traveling and had some health problems, you know it can be an aggravation and sometimes worse. We'll have some tips for you on how you can handle it and prevent some of those difficulties. Also, Joe Carcione, the greengrocer, will be with us. We'll have news and weather for you, too, on our next Midday program. Please plan to be along.
This is CBS.
Note these events in this area. Bloomington Jefferson High School will be the scene for an exciting Israeli bazaar March 8th, 2 to 5 p.m. The Cherry Orchard will be presented at Park Square Theater February 27th through March 28th. There will be a free tax counseling for the elderly Wednesdays through April 15th at the Lenox Community Center. A public service of WCCO-TV.
So many things go together to shape children's lives. The food they eat, the medical care they get, the schools they go to, and their parents' love and understanding in a secure family atmosphere. At Save the Children, we're working on all these things. Our community development assistance programs are designed to give all children a chance to grow up healthy and happy and eager to discover what they were cut out to be. For more information, write Save the Children, Department T, Westport, Connecticut, 06880.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From WCCO Television, the Northwest's leading news station, this is the 10 p.m. report.
Good evening. Distinguished visitors, headlines tonight's news. Official Washington turned out to greet British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher today. And it seems that nearly all of Alaska turned out for the arrival of Pope John Paul II. The North Stars visited Boston Gardens for a wrestling match that was billed as a hockey game. And tonight in Part 4 of Cable, the Closed Circuit Society, we'll visit Ted Turner's all-news television station down in Atlanta, Georgia. But first tonight, the apprehension of a young girl in New Hope.
That's right, Doug. 14-year-old Gina Marie Buttweiler was taken into custody about 7:15 tonight by police in New Hope. She had walked away from a treatment facility 10 days ago. Last October, Gina was convicted of killing her father and making an attempt on the life of her mother. The girl was apprehended at a house on West Broadway after police had been tipped off by an anonymous caller. Gina was transferred to the custody of Wright County officials tonight. Her apprehension thus ends some tense times with the girl's mother, as Dave Nimmer reports.
Hop in, watch your head.
Joan Buttweiler wanted her daughter locked up after last October's shooting. But the court, partly based on testimony from psychiatrists, decided that the girl could benefit from treatment. So she was placed in a Shoreview facility, which is not a secure institution.
I was very angry because everyone agreed that she would run away. This was common knowledge. Everyone connected with the case agreed she would run away eventually. And she did. So they knew that this would not hold her.
The Wright County Sheriff has been providing a deputy to watch the home, and today a security alarm system was installed. But Mrs. Buttweiler has not felt very secure, especially since her daughter's escape.
Just sheer hell. I am frightened not only for myself, but my parents, my family, my friends. I don't know what she plans on doing next.
Dave Nimmer, WCCO Television News in Wright County.
A boy found dead last December has been added to the list of Atlanta black children who have either been killed or are missing. The addition of 15-year-old Patrick Rogers brings to 21 the number of cases now under investigation. Sam Ford has a report.
With the addition of 16-year-old Patrick Rogers, the Atlanta Police Department's missing and murdered list now rises to 21. The boy's decomposed body was found December 7th in the Chattahoochee River in suburban Cobb County, nearly a month after he was reported missing from his South Atlanta home. Until today, Cobb County authorities were responsible for the case, but recently they and many others had suggested that the Rogers case be investigated by the Child Homicide Task Force. The similarities between Rogers and other victims include this shopping center, where he used to help shoppers with their bags for small tips. He was last seen alive here, as was murder victim Aaron Jackson, a 9-year-old. Also, Rogers lived in this apartment complex, just 20 feet away from the apartment where 10-year-old Aaron Wyke, another victim, lived with his mother. The Rogers family members say Patrick was a streetwise kid who knew karate. They are pleased his case has been turned over to the task force.
It's a mystery just like all the rest of them. Don't nobody know how he got way out there, how he died or nothing. It's a mystery just like all the rest of the kids there.
As for the 2 Atlanta children reported missing yesterday, they were both found alive last night. Authorities are considering filing child abuse charges against the mother of 10-year-old Dempster Williams, who ran away Tuesday night while she was hitting him with a belt. The other youth, 14-year-old Termal Hurd, is in a juvenile detention center at the request of his mother, who said he was an unruly child and a runaway. Sam Ford, CBS News, Atlanta.
Here at home, the number stands at 12 tonight. That's 12 Twin Cities banks that have fallen victim to robbers since the first of the year. Today's target was the 4th Northwestern on East Franklin. Bandit entered the bank about 5 o'clock, presented a note demanding money, walked off with an undisclosed amount of money. Tonight, the FBI released this bank photograph of the suspect, who's in his mid-30s, 5 feet 9 inches tall, with a mustache and ruddy complexion. Someone's $1 million richer in Philadelphia tonight after he, or she, or them picked up several canvas bags of cash, $1 million in cash, that had fallen from a Purolator van. Before anyone had realized what happened, the bags were scooped up and the scooper disappeared. Doug?
A week ago tonight, there was an uprising at the St. Cloud Reformatory that lasted 2 hours before tear gas broke it up. Today, 29 Indian inmates were charged with 6 violations. The leaders of the revolt say it all came about because of the use of force by the guards, and they denied earlier reports that 4 hostages had been taken. In about 9 hours from now, the nearly 5-month-old strike at North Star Steel in St. Paul will officially end. The 567 striking steel workers accepted the company's 3-year contract offer earlier today. Officials of the United Steelworkers Union said they didn't get a ceiling cap removed from the cost of living increase, but called the contract the best one that the bargaining committee could come up with.
I think the people have come to the end of the line. The stone wall is just bigger than we thought it was, and have to roll back and reevaluate and look at the wall again, I guess.
North Star General Manager Robert Garvey says the contract allows workers to maintain their position as the best-paid steel workers in the country.
The first European leader to be hosted by President Reagan received the red carpet treatment in Washington today. British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher met for 2 hours with the president before joining him for a ceremony on the South Lawn. The 2 leaders agreed that the Russian proposal for a U.S.-Soviet summit needs, quote, to be carefully studied. And the British chief of state affirmed her country's alliance with the United States both, she said, in times of peace and in times of conflict.
The message I've brought across the Atlantic is that we in Britain stand with you. America's successes will be our successes. Your problems will be our problems. And when you look for friends, we will be there.
And earlier tonight, Mrs. Thatcher's immediate predecessor, James Callaghan, addressed a gathering at the Landmark Center in St. Paul. The former British Prime Minister spoke on the topic of leadership. His visit and address are a part of a lecture series sponsored by the Hubert Humphrey Institute of Public Affairs at the University of Minnesota. Amid cheers of "I love you" in his native tongue of Polish, Pope John Paul II greeted a crowd at the Anchorage, Alaska airport today. The stopover in the United States, the last leg of the Pontiff's 12-day world tour. From the airport, the Pope was driven to a nearby cathedral where he held a prayer meeting with Catholic and Protestant clergy members. Tonight, he's on his way back to the Vatican. Doug?
Officials of the Reagan administration spent the day today trying to decide where to cut $6 billion more from the federal budget. President Reagan ordered the additional cuts when he learned that federal spending for this year would be higher than at first thought. Treasury Secretary Donald Regan blamed the Carter administration, which he said overestimated the extent of its budgetary cost controls. Minnesota's unemployment rate increased 0.9% in January over the month of December, but it's still 1% lower than the national average.
Interesting day for the Chrysler Corporation tomorrow. First, it will announce that it lost $1.7 billion last year. That's the largest loss in U.S. business history. And then it will pick up $400 million in federal loans to keep the company going.
Got an energy question? Minagasco has the energy answer.
How can I save energy and money when I buy appliances?
By comparing operating cost as well as price. Today's modern gas appliances can save enough energy to pay for themselves while they heat your home, dry your clothes, and cook your food. Be a wise energy buyer with this booklet from Minagasco, part of Minagasco's ACT program. Active conservation today can mean affordable cost tomorrow.
Wild cane, nutsedge, Johnson grass seedlings. These are just a few of the toughest weeds in corn. To control them takes extra strength. The extra strength you get in Eradicane herbicide. Eradicane delivers more weed-stopping power than regular herbicides. This season, grow corn where it was almost impossible before. Use Eradicane for the toughest weeds in corn.
The competition. He's been working for this moment his entire life.
This is the last year that could belong to me.
For her, winning could mean the start of a brilliant career. Richard Dreyfuss, Amy Irving, for both of them, this could be the perfect romance if it weren't for the competition.
You won't be there. You're going to run out on me. Oh, Paul.
If you're really in love, nothing's going to stand in your way. Rated PG.
At Southdale, Brookdale, Chillard Park, and Harmar in St. Paul.
A job demanding 10-hour workdays and hourly deadlines might not be too attractive to most. There are TV journalists who endure those kinds of conditions at an operation called the Cable News Network.
And the news people willing to take the extra pressure to be part of a newscast that never ends. The 24-hour Cable News Network is the brainchild of Atlanta tycoon Ted Turner. And tonight in part 4 of our series, Cable, the Closed Circuit Society, we visit Turner and his history-making marathon newscast.
Ted Turner commutes, but not by Cadillac, economy Corolla. He's into conservation. Only the bumper stickers hint at his holdings. But his upstairs office fits the image of a TV tycoon. Big, nice blue carpet, shelves of sailing trophies, pictures of his yacht. Turner, it's clear, doesn't always travel economy class. 2 TV pictures shift silently on the wall. His independent station now making $1 million a month. The Cable News Network now losing $1 million a month. To Turner, that means he's breaking even, and the only way is up.
The news network will be in the black on its own in October at the latest. And, within 18 months of starting it up, it'll be breaking even.
Satellites are the secret to Turner's news network. 6 dishes listen to the sky like a bed of giant inverted mushrooms out in the backyard of the Turner TV empire. Inside, a couple hundred feet away, those signals are turned from raw information into news.
Good morning, I'm Bob Kane.
I'm Lou Waters. It's 11 o'clock here in the east, 8 a.m. on the Pacific Coast. Here are some of the stories making headlines this morning.
This is the final process point for everything on the cable news network. Satellite reports from Dallas and Paris, Rome, and L.A.
Stand by, L.A. Now, Elizabeth Anderson, live in our Los Angeles bureau.
Check L.A., go L.A., stand by to roll 9.
Good morning from Los Angeles. Long Beach, California police.
UPI and Reuters stories that come by computer and teletype, too. There are news bits leaking and seeping in from all kinds of sources, even the phone.
I'm trying to check on it.
A fire in New York, a trial in Iran. It adds up to a flood of fact from all over the world. It never stops, but somehow it never seems to overwhelm. It all seems to get on the air.
As of 10:47, the fire department declared the fire under control. We'll have more on the story as it develops.
The anchors on the air, the technicians that put them there, the writers, the producers, all are under terrible pressure. It takes an endless flow of info to feed the hungry cameras. Not everybody is happy with the 10-hour days or the low pay. Turner pays most of the technical people the minimum wage. Some say they can't afford to live on $140 a week and less. But what some may consider exploitation, others call efficiency. Ted Turner is proud of the economy of his network operation. He sits in his office, chawing absently but never missing, and plans future deals. Today, he is musing over the possibility of purchasing Metro Media, a chain of stations that includes WTCN, Minneapolis. The price, he thinks, might be $1 billion. A lot of money, maybe. Turner plans to get it, creaming his competition.
I'm going to go past them so fast that you won't even be able to, we're going to go past them as like a jet plane.
TV series, movie productions, all are among Ted's dreams for the future of the Turner Communications empire.
I'd like to do some programs showing normal people as heroes, working in their jobs. Mary Tyler Moore was a good show. As opposed to these way out things like Love Boat and Fantasy Island that show people spending money but never show where people get it.
What the mind can conceive and the heart believe, Turner says, you can achieve. Scarcely an original line. But in light of Turner's past achievements, it may be worth taking note of what he is conceiving and believing these days. With photographer Ben McCoy, Jim Newman, WCCO Television News, at the Turner Broadcasting Center in Atlanta, Georgia.
A decision is expected in a few days in the case of two St. Paul housing inspectors and the allegations of wrongdoing against them. Tenants of a duplex on Adrian Street say their landlord, Housing Inspector Charles Vattel, has spent considerable city time remodeling a downstairs apartment, which is rented by another city inspector, Ed Eberhardt. Today, both men were questioned during a closed-door meeting at City Hall. The investigation is being conducted by the city's legal staff. A construction accident injured 3 men in downtown Minneapolis this afternoon. It happened at the site of the City Center project on 7th Street when a piece of concrete knocked several steel beams from their supports. 3 men were treated for minor injuries at the Hennepin County Medical Center.
Well, recent technology has made it possible for both the Soviet Union and the United States to spy on each other with sophisticated satellites. And technology is advancing so rapidly, it may soon be possible for each side to destroy the other's satellites with nuclear weapons fired into space. Pentagon officials are testing our satellites to see just how well they'll weather such a blast. Bob Schieffer has the report.
The United States has been conducting underground nuclear tests in the Nevada desert for years, but seldom releases photos, and this tape, released by the Defense Nuclear Agency, provides a rare glimpse of nuclear explosive power. Inside that steel trailer is a satellite similar to those that the United States has in orbit for communications and intelligence purposes. The question, what would happen to the satellites if the Soviets set off a nuclear blast in the atmosphere? To find out, a nuclear weapon has been buried 1,000 feet below the trailer. It is a small one by nuclear standards, with the explosive equivalent of 20,000 tons of TNT. But watch the earth ripple as the bomb goes off.
3, 2, 1. 0 time.
As the bomb explodes, radiation rushes up a pipe into the structure where the satellite is housed. But the trailer must be moved quickly because down below the earth has been turned into a molten state, And as it begins to cool, it contracts, and the ground above gives way. No radiation escapes, however. The defense agency called the test successful, but gave no details. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Washington.